Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this reading from Malcolm X. Today's reading kickstarts a whole month of reading for amazing black men and women who have made such monumental changes towards black civil rights, especially in America. As you all know, we all know what's going on at this moment in time, but I want to take this moment to celebrate those amazing people who have basically kick-started what we're seeing today. The whole Black Lives Matter movement was built on the foundations of the teachings of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, the tenacity and determination of Rosa Parks. So please do support, hit a thumbs up. Remember to watch all of the ads on all of these videos because I will be donating all of the AdSense raised to the Bail Project. I don't make a lot of AdSense on my videos, so hopefully I can make enough to actually withdraw and fund it, but whatever I do make, if I don't make enough, I will put in the funds to be able to withdraw it and donate. So please do support, watch all the ads, subscribe if you enjoy videos like this, or if you just want to educate yourself on, you know, these amazing teachers and hear their messages. Leave some love by hitting a thumbs up, and let's get into reading for Malcolm X. Now, if you don't know who Malcolm X is, I will give you a little brief rundown. Malcolm X was a powerful, one of the most influential, if not the most influential, activist for black justice in America. He was there right alongside Martin Luther King, not together, but they were fighting for justice at the same time in very different ways, but again, still fighting for the same cause. And there was a lot of controversy that followed Malcolm X. He did make controversial speeches. He wasn't scared to speak how he really felt. And because of that, because he wasn't doing the traditional normal peace walk or peace protest, because he spoke out about things that were deemed controversial at the time, he has gone down in history as being a controversial character. I've got Malcolm X's energy here with me. I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to walk through his childhood just a little bit because I think personally from what I've seen and how I feel his energy is, it helps you to understand why he took the approach he did. Malcolm X grew up in a traditional family, a mom, a dad, and his siblings in the household. Unfortunately, his dad was killed. Now, what's very interesting is when his dad was killed, his mother actually had a premonition that it was going to happen. Now, it's very interesting that his mum did have a premonition because I feel that Malcolm X was actually intuitive. I feel like Malcolm X was very intuitive and he knew when a lot of things were going to happen, and he knew his place and how he needed to be there as an opposition to Martin Luther King. Very intelligent young man, but basically when his dad died, it was believed that his dad's death was caused by the KKK. That fueled a lot of hatred within and a lot of anger within Malcolm X, because already in the world he's in, the white community are dominant, they are hateful, they are despicable towards black people. This is a time of segregation that Malcolm X grew up in. And what happened was when Malcolm X's father passed away, his mother unfortunately battled with mental health issues and she was institutionalized. And because of that, Malcolm X was put into foster care, where he was brought up in a predominantly white community. He was one of the only black children in his class and one of the only few black children in his school, and he was a keen learner. This is a boy who was top of his class, super intelligent. I cannot tell you how much I feel in his brain, in his head chakra. So much knowledge. Oh my goodness, you could not outsmart this man if you tried. You could not outsmart him. So much knowledge, I can just feel it, like, and constantly learning. He was constantly wanting to learn, and that's how he was as a student. And he actually wanted to be a lawyer. And he said that to one of his teachers, and one of his teachers said, "Oh no, No, someone like you, you know, people like you work with their hands. Why don't you go and be a carpenter? And what happened after that was, it just infuriated him, as it would. What, because I'm black, I should go and do something where I don't have to really use my brain? You know, and that's no offense to any carpenters. My partner is a carpenter. You do have to use your brain in carpentry, but that's not what the teacher was insinuating. So things turned for Malcolm X from there. Things turned negative for Malcolm X from there, and he went on a journey of thieving and robbing and, you know, pimping. You know, he turned to that life. And he ended up in jail. And while he was in jail, he found solace in the religion of Islam. His siblings were writing to him about the religion of Islam, and he found solace in it, and he believed in it, and he believed in the teachings of, you know, of Islam. At the time, the teacher of the Nation of Islam in the States, who was basically promoting Islam, was a man called Elijah Muhammad. Now, if you want to learn more about this, you can watch on Netflix the series called Who Shot Malcolm X. It's extremely intriguing, very knowledgeable. I would highly recommend. So yeah, Malcolm really, really looked up to Elijah Muhammad, and, you know, so much so of a father figure, because he lost his father so young. You know, he was looking for that guidance, and he felt that Elijah Muhammad saved him. But things turned very nasty very quickly, and Malcolm X is outspoken. He's confident, he's knowledgeable, he's a leader, he's not a sub-leader. He's not someone who can just be in the back. He has to be forefront because he has a lot to say, and that was always his place. His place was always to be at the forefront. That's part of the journey. He's telling me that was the path he was meant to take. He was always meant to be at the forefront. He's saying, I didn't know it. Sorry, I have got him here. He's saying, I didn't know it at the time, but I just felt that's how I was. But I was, you know, I've learned from being on the other side that I was meant to be a leader. So Elijah Muhammad, who also believed he was the leader, didn't really like the fact that Malcolm X was becoming so outspoken. And basically, Malcolm X found out a lot of things about Elijah Muhammad that Elijah Muhammad didn't want leaked. And also, the breaking point was the death of JFK, when Elijah Muhammad strictly told the community of Islam not to speak about it, not to say anything against the president, because the Americans loved JFK, and it was going to be bad if anyone spoke anything against him. Malcolm X did go on to say that the death of JFK was the chickens coming home to roost. In other words, it's his own karma. And that was the split of Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. So I feel like it's important to know the background of where Malcolm X came from, because when he was basically kicked out of the Islam community, he was very much alone, and he knew he was fighting a battle alone. Malcolm X's fight and want and passion always was for the equality of black people. In fact, I would go as far, because he's making me feel that way. He's like, no, I didn't want equality for black people. I wanted quality for black people. You know, I wanted not even to be equal, just to be us, you know, just to be accepted as humans. You know, we were still being treated like dogs. We were still being treated like animals. We were still being treated as probably not even second-class citizens, you know. But he's talking about the protests and the movements now, and he's proud. One of the very first things he said to me as I connected with him, and even now he's laughing, he's saying, I'm proud. He's saying, about time, you know, justice is going to be served. He's saying it's going to be a slow process. It is a slow process. He's like, we've waited this long, we can wait a bit longer. But he's saying, you know, he's applauding. He's very, very proud. He's very, very proud of the black community, the black youth. He's talking about his own children and the differences that they've made, and he's saying, research them, research them. He's a teacher, he's a scholar. This is a man who was meant to be a lawyer. You know, he was meant to get into the system and work with the white people, you know, to make a difference. And he's talking about that. A lot of people asked what they can do to make a change, and he was like, educate yourself, mingle. He actually said to me, mingle, go to the councils, go to the community meetings, go to the committees, become part of it. You know, we can talk about our this is what he's saying to me. He's saying we can talk about our race not being predominantly shown enough, or not being predominantly present enough, but we are the ones that make the change in that. We have to go and fight. We need to knock on the door. We need to bang the door down. Like, this is what he's saying. He's saying, stop waiting for someone else to give it to you. And this is very much what Malcolm X was about. He was very much about this. He was like, I'm not going to beg you, I'm going to come and get it. And that's what he's saying. He's saying, stop waiting for people to come and give you things. Stop waiting for the white governors and the white president to say, it's okay, yeah, okay, we can do that. Go and bang on the White House door, write the letters, send the emails, do the thing. And he's proud to say that people are doing that now. I put a lot of stuff forward to him before, and I have got notes because I've been talking with him all day, because the download messages started to come through to me about lunchtime. So yeah, one of the first things he said to me was that he's feeling proud. It was one of the first things he came through to me and said, and I was like, oh, you're here. He also told me that he had dreams about his death, and I want to say this because I do feel he was very intuitive. He knew what was happening, when it was happening, why it was happening. I feel like he had a lot of he's telling me, I had a lot of dreams. He's saying I had a lot of dreams, and that's where a lot of my messages came from, my dreams. I didn't sleep very well, ever. He's saying I didn't sleep very well. I was very agitated. I was moving all the time. And I could feel it. Like, I can't sit still. I can feel it in his energy. Like, he's like, I had to be doing something all the time. And it's that energy that he wants to bring. And he's there. He's saying, I am there. I am in those protests. My energy is there. Believe me, it's there. He said he wasn't scared of death. This is exact words, and I am just looking down because I've got it here. He's saying, I wasn't scared of death. I was scared of the world not changing and staying the same. That was his biggest fear. His biggest fear was that anything he'd done, or even anything that Martin Luther King had done, would not change things. And he knew when he was going to die, and because he knew when he was going to die and he knew his work wasn't done, someone actually asked me to ask, did he feel that he went at the right time? And he instantly said, no, I didn't go at the right time. I had so much more to do and so much more to say. And he's just saying, you know, because I knew that I was going to go way before my time, I was terrified. I was terrified of how the world was going to look without me, because I was making such profound movements. I was making such bold statements. I was scared of what the world was going to look like without my presence. I was scared for my children, for my family. I was scared for my race. Malcolm X was actually quoted saying, revolutions overturn systems, revolutions destroy systems. He's very, very particular. He's very, very adamant that the places that we start is within the law. He is saying the way you are going to change this is to know, is through knowledge. Learn the laws, know your rights, know your rights. He's talking about, he's on my right hand side. He's talking about the internet, and he's saying, I didn't have that. I had this. I had books. He's saying, I didn't have that. If I had, I would have been at a computer all day long, not on social media, but learning. He's saying we have literally no excuse. We have everything we need at our fingertips. He's saying use it for the thing that you're meant to use it for, and not what they think you should use it for, not what they want you to use it for. And he's smiling. He's in good spirits. I tell you that, and I want to tell you that because he's not sitting and frowning at this. He's in good spirits. He is saying that young man should not have died. Those young men and women should not have had to die. But I am grateful that justice will come from their deaths. This is his words now. No longer after this day will the black man be suppressed. And that's all I wanted. He's saying that's all I wanted. He's openly saying, maybe I didn't talk about it in the right way. Maybe I didn't. But that was all I wanted. And I'm happy today's the day. He said to me, this is what I wanted the whole world to see. and now indeed the whole world is watching. He wanted this. Malcolm X frequently talked about how this is bigger than the United States. This issue needs to be taken out of the United States and into the United Nations. It's a United Nations problem. We can't stand back as part of the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, France, Belgium, Amsterdam, I don't know, wherever you're from. You can't stand back and be like, that's not my problem. We are one race, the human race. Now, Malcolm X was popularly known for speaking about the black race being segregated but empowered on their own. And I'm intrigued to ask you now, do you still feel that way? Do you still feel that, you know, that the black people don't need the white man to, you know, or that we shouldn't be integrated? Do you still feel that? Yes and no. Okay. Why? Okay. His no to integration comes from a place of hurt. He's saying before we got here to the States, we were our own nation in Africa, and he is very much pushing for people to know. He's saying, my people forget where we came from. You know, we came from Africa, where there were no white people, and we were kings and we were queens and we were royal. They've taken us, kidnapped us, degraded us, enslaved us, and made us downtrodden. He is saying, I do now see that the youth of today are not the same as when I was on this planet. The white people of my age who wanted to support the black man were far and few. He's actually saying, I'd like to thank those white people who are standing with the black community. Thank you. So yes, my view is changing. He's still to be convinced. He's a Taurus. Malcolm X is a Taurus. He's a Taurus, he's a stubborn man. But he's saying, I'm still to be entirely convinced because I still feel like there's more that the white community could do. But he is saying, what do you feel like they could do? Again, he's saying there's more of them in the councils, there's more of them in the government, there's more of them in the high paid positions, there's more that they could do to speak out. He's wanting people to understand that it is the people within the councils, within the community committees, in the government. They can do more, and they at the moment are predominantly white. Now, the black people can change that by forcing their way in, by pushing their way in, by writing letters, getting notice. You know, more black people applying for jobs in these positions, more black people volunteering to be in these positions, more black people trying to force their way in, bang your way in, knock the door down. You know, he's very adamant about that. And the white people who are already in those positions, speak the hell up. If you see inequality, if you look around a room and there's only white people, you need to say something. And that's what he's saying. And that's why he's saying he's still on the fence of whether he can trust white people, because he's still not seeing them stand up enough for the black community. People asked if Malcolm X believed that the movement and the equality for black people is where it should be. He's saying he's not surprised it's where it is. He's saying, I'm actually surprised at the way things have changed. The words that I actually downloaded from him earlier were, I think the movement is exactly where it should be and where I had imagined it to be when I was alive. So he is in support of where it should be. He believes definitely in divine timing, in destined timing. He said specifically, I don't think we should be further ahead because I know how deep-rooted racism and systematic racism is in America and the world, and how long it would take to resolve it. I know that better than anyone. This is a man who was on the front line, yeah? And he wasn't on the front line with an army behind him. Let me tell you, this man was on the front line on his own. So he had supporters and he had people who followed him, but really he had a lot of enemies and he had a lot of people who were against him. More people were against Malcolm X than for him. A lot of people believed in the way that Martin Luther King was leading the movement, peaceful protests. Malcolm X, am I right in saying you didn't believe in that? He said at the time, no. Do you believe? He's saying anything will help right now. All he wants is justice for his people. He really wants people to understand where his anger came from. And he wants people to know that he was controversial and spoke his mind so people would listen. He really felt unheard and unlistened to. He really, really felt unheard and unlistened to. He's like, so I don't care what I said. I don't care what I did. If it made you listen to me, then good. I was sick of my people not being heard, sick of them being suppressed. I was sick of it. I was angry. I witnessed every day and experienced every single day firsthand racism. And there was nothing I wouldn't do. There was nothing I wouldn't say. There was nothing I wasn't going to put myself forward for it not to make a difference. And he wants people to have that energy. He needs that energy. He's seeing that energy. He's proud of it, but he needs more of it. This can't just stop here. He's saying, I hope for a future where things do change. But until my people push, he needs you to push hard. He's really adamant. He knows you're pushing. He knows you're fighting. He's saying until you push your way into... He's giving me so much. He's saying until you push your way into the governments, push your way into the councils, push your way into the committees, until you start talking, using your platforms to not just talk about beauty and cosmetics, to solely talk about the injustices of your people, it's going to be a slow burning change. Okay. Again, I've got here, he's saying knowledge is power, know the laws, know your rights, communicate with those bigger than you. Really big and important. You saw Malcolm X meet with leaders all across the world. He was trying to influence change, so he went for the people who make the changes. Do the same. You're not too small to write to the White House. You're not too small to write to your local mayor. You're not too small to start your own council within your own community. You know, you're not too small. Every single person who moves and make a difference is going to make a difference. And he's really for that. His main message, I'm telling you now, from the moment I connected with him, he talked about his intelligence. And it wasn't in a way of saying, I'm smarter than you, I'm this and that. It was in a way of saying that that was his power. What you don't know, you can't use. So know the laws, know your rights, know your power. Because that will put you 10 steps ahead, and that's where you need to be. Okay. He talked about wanting to be a criminal justice lawyer, and I just said to him, but you didn't believe in the government and you didn't believe in the system. And he said he didn't believe in the government and systematic setup, and that's why he wanted to be a part of it, to change it. If you're not a part of something, you can't change it. And when he said that to me, I was like, of course. You know, it's like, he actually spoke to me earlier. He said, your minds today are too simple. Everything's too easy for you. You know, I had to literally get up and fight. I literally had to get up and fight. I had to use my brain. I didn't have Google to use it for me. And he's saying that. He's saying would I be right to say you're saying we're a bit dumbed down? Yeah, okay. He's saying we're a bit dumbed down. And I would agree. You know, we believe everything we hear. We believe everything we see first hand. And we can't. We have to dig deeper, use our own intellect, use our own knowledge. We weren't given a brain to just soak up the first thing we see. We were given a brain to soak up the truth. And he's very adamant about using your knowledge as power, because that's exactly what he did. The last note I have for Malcolm X, and I think, do you have anything else you'd like to say? Okay. He's saying people mistook me and misjudged me. I was angry, but I wasn't encouraging violence. I was encouraging confidence. The one thing that Malcolm X wanted was his people to be empowered. He still stands by the fact that if someone comes at you, you come at them back. But you can't come back at them if you don't have the knowledge. And this is what he's saying. You have to have the evidence, the information to back up your action. If you're going to go out there and just fight and fling yourself at something, and you know that something has the power to arrest you, to kill you, you need to have the information. to save and protect yourself. The knowledge is protection, and he really is saying that. That's the one thing he wants to say. If you're going to protest, if you're going to go out there, if you're going to fight, thank you, but make sure you have the information to protect yourself, to keep yourself fighting. He's really adamant about that. So please, if you see something on social media and you think, yes, that's great, I've learned something new, dig deeper, make sure you go and check that fact, because anyone can write anything on social media and you don't know is true. So go and check the facts, check more than one reliable source. It's important. He's really pushing that knowledge is power. He's really pushing that, yes, I was violent, maybe I came across aggressive, but I was just trying to lift up my people in a powerful, forceful way. Because let's face it, if someone comes at you and says, people, please, can you just do this? You're not going to listen. He's like, listen to me. When people come at, you listen. He's saying it's the only way I could be heard. And all I wanted to do was give my people the confidence to be proud of who they were and to stand up for themselves. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, lovelies. I do hope you enjoyed this reading from Malcolm X, and I'll see you soon for another reading. Bye.